Hello, this is MI9 I'm here to say I'm going to be doing a vlog today. So, Echo mentioned that they like hearing my stories, so I decided I'm going to do like a story time vlog. A story time that is also a vlog. So, I know I didn't need to explain myself like that, but I did. So, this is a story about my first adult hospitalization. That's where I met my best friend Emu. Don't worry, she's okay with being called that. And, we met in the hospital, and at the time I was on public spaces, so like I was only allowed to be in public spaces. It's like a step down from one-on-one, and one-on-one is when somebody's watching you the whole time. It's like a little less intense than that, because they still wanted to watch me, but in a public space. And that definition is loose, because depending on who is working that day, depends on how public a public space is. Like, there's the community room where people were sitting down watching TV and stuff. I wasn't allowed in there. I was only allowed in the hallway. And I'm like, that's not how public spaces worked with the guy yesterday. They're like, well, this is how it works. This is what it is. So I was just chilling in the hallway, and Emu was like, let's chill together so you're not alone. Because I was just... nobody was out there. It was boring as fuck. And I'm like, yeah, of course, let's hang out. So she sits on the floor next to my chair, and then one of the workers is like, no, you can't sit there. It's a fire hazard. My dad's a fucking firefighter, okay? I know what's a fire hazard, what's not a fire hazard. This chair is a fire hazard, but we're still keeping it in the hallway. So of course, Emu was like, but there's no other chairs out here. So Emu was like, okay, I'll bring a chair out. And she brings a chair out, and they're like, no, you can't do that. That's a fire hazard. So she puts it back in there, and then she sits on the floor next to me. And they're like, you can't sit out here. You have to go into the community room or into your own room. And she's like, that's dumb. That's pretty much what she said. She just, like, looks them in the face and says, that's dumb. And they were going back and forth on her about this. And she's like, then let them go let them go into the community room. They're like, well, that's not a public space. It is public space. It is public space. So what Emu said was, show me the rule book and tell me where it says that. If you're right, then I'll go into the community room and leave Sid alone. But if you're wrong, then I get to stay out here. They're like, no, we're not doing that. We know what's right. We've been working here for years. She's like, yeah, and I've been here years before, and it was never like this. And they're like, well, we're not going to do that, da-da-da-da-da. So then after Emu was just sitting out, she was teaching me how to do Sudoku. So we were just doing that in the hallway. And then, I know how to do Sudoku. Am I good at it? No. That's why I was having her teach me. And then they called fucking security. So these police officers come in, and then they go to move her, and she's like, all I'm asking is to see the rule book. When I see the rule book and you guys are right, then I'll leave you alone. But if I see the rule book and you guys are wrong, you let Sid go into the community room. And the officers are like, I don't know what to do about this. So they grab her and move her. And then I got up and was really anxious, and one of the workers pulled me aside, like physically pulled me aside and said, don't worry about this. This isn't your fight. I'm like, technically it is. This is my fight. But I'm crying because I cried a lot when I was younger. Eventually, the security officers are like, we can't do anything. Like, she's not doing anything. She's just sitting in the hallway. So we can't legally do anything about this. So they got the rule book. So they bring it to her. Emu flips through it. And lo and behold, Emu was right. And literally, this whole thing could have been avoided if the nurse who was saying that I had to be out in the hallway just fucking got the rule book and showed it to Emu. I think it's because the nurse knew she was wrong, but even though Emu was right, they wouldn't let me go into the community room, so Emu sat in the hallway with me. And then, no, they did let me go into the community room, but only right by the window, so the nurse's office could see me. So we did get to sit in the community room, but it was right by the window. I couldn't move anywhere from there. So it was so freaking ridiculous. these people, okay, mental hospital stays are not terrible. They're not great. I don't recommend. But if you are in a struggling position, I do recommend. But it's not easy. It's very difficult. I've been hospitalized 16 times, and it was not easy, any single one of them. But depending on where you go, and depending on what nurse is working that day, they might flex the rules around. And it's not cool that they do that, but every time I've been somewhere, it's different rules, no matter who's working, depending on who's working. And it's tough because you're already struggling, but then they have all these rules that you have to abide by. And nobody reads the full booklet, okay? Nobody reads the full booklet besides Emu. She read the whole thing because she's been there before, so she just read the whole thing. And, I mean, you're not doing anything there, so you might as well just read the whole thing if you wanted to. But it's not easy being there. And if you don't know the rules, it makes it even harder. And, you know, I'll give you a twofer episode. Let's do another story time. This one's short. I was on public spaces again, because apparently the definition of that is different for everybody. And we're outside. We had like this outside deck, an outside deck with giant walls. We had one of those. And we were sitting outside. I was enjoying it because the temperature was nice. And then this nurse comes in and is like, Sid, you gotta go inside. And I was like, why? She's like, you're on public spaces. I'm like, this is a public space. Like, literally it was. And she's like, no, you gotta go inside. And I said, no. I was not feeling well, so I just stood up for myself more and was like, no, I'm not going inside. And she's like, Sid, come inside. And I'm like, no. So she comes outside and grabs my arm, like, really tight, starts pulling me. And I was like, don't touch me. And she's like, well, you gotta go inside. So I went outside. I went inside with her. And, oh my God, I was so mad at her. She wouldn't even let me stay in the community room. I had to stay in the hallway again. This was a different hospitalization than that one. But either way, it wasn't fair. I was just enjoying the time outside. There were staff outside. So it's not like I wasn't near staff. They just were picking fights about every little thing. I don't know. I didn't like that nurse, by the way, because why'd you touch me? I mean, I get it now that I'm out of the situation, but I still don't like her. She was really hard. She, like, gripped like this. Like, jeez, man. Calm down. So, yeah. Mental hospitalizations are not for the weak. And yet, when you go in there, you definitely don't feel strong. It's not easy at all. And if you are struggling, please go. But if you are not, don't put the pressure on yourself to go in there. Like, for me, whenever I change my medications, I tend to spiral. And then I tend to need to go to the hospital. But there were a couple times that I started spiraling, and I wasn't quite there yet, but I went to the hospital anyway. And then I felt worse while at the hospital. So it really is hit or miss, which sucks because this is a very, very important need that our society needs, is to have access to a mental hospital. And I don't know, it's just scary. Speaking of scary, here's the questions people have asked me. Are you nervous about going back to school? Yes. I'm doing 2 classes this time, which is hard for me. I normally do 1 class at a time because it's really difficult for me to do them. I don't know how to explain how it's difficult for me, but it is. And I still have work, so working and school. But other people, I have met people who do full-time schooling and full-time work at the same time. Like, how the fuck do you do it? Why can't you give that to me? But I am nervous about school, because this time I'm doing 2 classes at one time. And I'm hoping that's not too much for me. But I shall find out. It's now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when I have classes. And I work any day besides that. Like, I just gave my boss my school schedule, and she said she'll work with it. So, I'm very nervous, though. I just bought myself a cool little pencil case that's also a popper. So, I'm a little excited to use that. It's a big pencil case. It's like this big. It's a rectangle. But I'm excited, but I'm also nervous. And these are both classes I've taken before. I took English 102 before. At least I thought so. I thought I passed that class. That's why when they put me on the schedule for that, I was like, what? And then I've also taken general psychology before. That one, the reason I failed that class is because COVID happened, and then they made everything virtual, and then I had a hospitalization during that time too, so I just couldn't catch up. So I'm hoping, because I've taken both these classes before, that it won't be that difficult for me to take 2 classes at once. Next semester, I might not do 2, I might go back to 1. But for this semester, I'm going to do 2 classes and see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to completely get off the rails and go for the TikTok of the week.
I'll do it tomorrow, maybe. I've got some work to do. My boss is waiting. I'll send that email once I'm done tweeting.
And here's the meme of the week. And you can thank Echo for me doing a story time, because they said they like story times. Because they like to listen to me in the background. Which, oh my god, that is the sweetest thing ever. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed in whatever fashion you can. If you are struggling, please reach out. There are texting and calling hotlines as well. Not reach out to me, but reach out to people who can help. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Minimo, signing off. Bye.